everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's daily live stream of the market open. Today is currently April 14. As we kick off the new trading session, we have a lot to discuss in this pre-market analysis. So obviously bank earnings came in, the start of JP Morgan, PNC, and Wells Fargo, a couple of the big ones. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo both beat, so did PNC. Now the expectations weren't really that important, as well as there was also BlackRock, so that's a big one. But the estimates weren't that high to begin with. I think the street was really putting them lower to make it look like the beat was that big. But overall, you can see JP Morgan gapping up. That's up substantially. Go figure, the poster child of the banks. JP Morgan is actually, let me just go to the hourly chart so we can see it here. JP Morgan's all the way up to 135.28. I do have short levels on this particular name. I'll give them out after this little wrap up. Also Wells Fargo gapping up. I find it interesting to see that PNC it's one of our shorts actually. We're currently shorting PNC with the swing trade members. But PNC was actually up over 8% in the pre-market. You can see a massive move up and then it reversed and it's hanging on to a thread to these positive gains. So what this is telling me is that PNC is one of the larger regional banks, and it's showing that there's still a lot of systemic risk in the banking sector because they gave good guidance, but investors automatically dumped right into that strength. I mean, an 8% pop is huge in the bank, and this is about a $50 billion bank, massive, and then it just reverses and gives up all those gains. That shows you there's a lot of risk still in these banking names. Overall, we'll keep an eye on that one because we are swing shorting right now. The spiders are gapping lower right now. You did get core retail sales that came out. Huge miss across the board. Basically, the expectation was 0.4%, minus 0.4%. Came in at minus 1%. Month over month also came in at minus 0.8. The consensus was minus 0.3%. So definitely a big miss across the board for retails. And that's important because obviously it was kind of predicted that retail sales are going to come in. If you paid attention to the guidance that Costco gave and Walmart, it has not been very good. And Costco's one of the best managed retail businesses out there with a huge membership base and often catering to the net worth individuals that aren't really affected by inflation as much. Predominantly households that make over $100,000 are going to be shopping at Costco, $100,000 to $250,000 per household. So what trades are we looking at this morning? All right, JP Morgan short. Let me just clear up this chart. I know I have a bunch of little old trading lines on there, so we'll clear it up to make it simple. Daily chart. Let's take a look. All right, JP Morgan is gapping up. So you want to let it hit that 50 moving average and pierce it. I actually have a level at starter position at 137.80, so right over there. And then another backup level at 138.57. Those should be a pretty good technically sound level. A lot of people are looking at this trend line, or at least traders, as a support line. So again, if JP Morgan gaps up into our level, we can short it here. If it falls, you could actually buy this little retrace zone and just have a stop loss below. So there's a short opportunity, and then if it falls pretty hard, there's a long opportunity right on this trend line. And just use this trend line, a very tight stop loss below. If you get a close, say on a 5-10 minute basis, you can just simply stop out on the long side. So we have a short and a long trade potential on JP Morgan that we'll keep on the radar. UNH, also United Health, reported earnings. Basically, I am looking at a short trade on UNH. You can see it is into some decent resistance as we speak. UNH actually gapped up. I believe it was all the way at, let me just check out my other chart here. Yeah, UNH actually hit all the way up to 540. So it actually pierced this pivot zone over here. So my expectations, because that was the high, I want to see it in the pre-market at least get back up to the high, if not pierce that previous high from yesterday. So anything above 530, 532, 533, I'll just have to assess the market as it plays out. But realistically, in these major pivot zones, should be a decent level for UNH short. Okay? And then we're looking at Boeing for a long. Boeing came out with a statement last night saying that they had some issues with one of their major airliners. I think it was the 737 jet. That jet has been in some fatality crashes in the past, so definitely be mindful of that. But we're looking at a long trade on Boeing, so there's a clear technical gap here, and this is actually a weekly chart pattern. So if we go to the weekly chart, you can see Boeing had this huge reversal, wide range green bar, and now you're testing the low of that. So there should be some decent support there for Boeing. That's kind of the breakout bar, and that's the level, the line in the sand that the bulls really want to keep a hold of at this point in time. And then if I simply take let me just change this to the 20 moving average. So if I change that to the 20 week, you can see that, actually we'll keep it on the 25 because you are hitting that right now. So if we look at the 25 weekly moving average, you can see that it is coming up into support there. So that's also kind of a backup level on the long side if we so choose to take this. So I am looking at Boeing for a long, UNH for a short, JP Morgan for a short. So those are the three primary candidates. There might be some more market movers. There are some market movers happening right now that are worth keeping an eye on. Obviously, tech is under pressure this morning, clearly lagging. But there's probably going to be some other opportunities. I'm just still scanning the chart, seeing if there's any unusual activity going on. Bitcoin has triggered a little mini topping formation on the 10-minute chart, which takes you actually down to about 30,400, 30,300. You also have natural gas under pressure this morning, but it is trying to bounce off the lows. The core retail sales, interestingly enough, dropped the dollar initially, and then a huge spike. And now the dollar's consolidating bullishly. The big level on the hourly chart is here. You need to get a close above that, and that's a little bit of bullish. And then if JP Morgan was to get through that 138.50 level, we do have about a 139 level. 139 Pierce, 139.20. But in and around here is good resistance. So the spiders right now are kind of pulling in a little bit. The QQQ is definitely the most weak indice out there. QQQ will have some support on this trend line. If you get a close below that trend line, you're going to the low end of the wedge. Yields also spiked, which is interesting because retail sales typically, when they come in weaker, it lowers yields. But you did have a Fed member come out. Can't remember which Fed member it was. They came out and said the Fed hasn't made enough progress in their inflation fight, which means yields have to stay higher for longer. So Boeing, JPM, United Health are the ones. There's another interesting play here. RACE, which is Ferrari race. This stock has just gone parabolic. So if I show you on the chart here, this is a distribution doji on massive volume. People are starting to unload and take profits. This chart has been in a parabolic uptrend. You can see it's actually pierced the double top. I'm looking at a short trade on this morning too. It's actually into a really good level as of now, basically piercing that double top zone. It was higher in the pre-market, but I would not be opposed to grabbing some short on Ferrari. RACE is the ticker as of now. The only thing about this name is why we have to be careful is it's a light volume name. It doesn't trade over 1 million shares per daily basis. Average is about yesterday was 679. Average is of 294. So it has a tendency to squeeze. So let this maybe go a little bit higher. 290, 288 should be a pretty good level. But definitely keep that on the radar as well. But it is a light volume name, so it has the tendency to squeeze a little bit more. So the dollar's trying to put in some consolidation. Gold had a pretty big rollover. So take a look at that rollover. That's because the dollar surged slightly. So big rollover. You actually did get a bearish hourly close. So this wide range red bar sell-off closed below this wide range breakout bar. This could be turning into a potential failed breakout. It's a little early to tell. Basically, we prepared you yesterday, our members, for this wedge pattern on gold. And basically you can see it hit the top of the wedge and now it's pulling in. It's still inside that wedge. It could actually easily float back up again and trade a few more days, but it is under pressure today. You have GDX falling on that as well, gapping lower today. So we added it to our GDX short yesterday. SLV is still hanging in there. Silver is very, very strong. Very, very strong. There's actually a potential short trade on SLV if it was to make a new high. If SLV makes a new high, we could actually go for a short trade on SLV. But lots on the radar today. A lot of potential opportunities, and we'll see how the S&P and the dollar hold up. Because frankly speaking, the dollar has given up most of its gains when it pops. It has a initial early morning pop and then it fades in the afternoon. So that's the big question: is can the dollar hold its gains? JP Morgan's faded off the highs. Boeing's around 201.83, just off our level. Nvidia's slightly positive. Apple's down. AMD's down. Tesla's down. Microsoft's down. I believe Google's also down. So about 5 minutes till the open. Obviously, banks are seeing more of the pockets of strength, but definitely pay attention to whether or not they start fading, giving up most of those gains. It's going to be crucial. China stocks, you have Baidu gapping lower, Baba gapping lower, also Baidu gapping lower. So China stocks are under pressure. Again, Bitcoin's under a little bit of pressure, but still holding up. It's still technically positive from yesterday's push, but it has triggered an intraday topping formation that should take it slightly negative. Healthcare Vertex slightly under pressure. XLV was positive, it just went negative. So really a lot of money is rotating out of mega cap tech and into the banks. That's what we're seeing. So imagine that as capital rotates out of tech, it flows into the banks. Imagine if we have another banking crisis. What happens to that capital that gets pulled out of mega cap tech into the banks? It could be just another deflationary event. All right, get ready for the open here. We're going to be opening about 3 minutes to showtime. 3 minutes to showtime. Meta's also down on the day. Some of the crypto mining stocks are holding up, like Coin, Riot. So JP Morgan's off of the radar right now because it's falling significantly from the highs. It still could pop up, so I'll watch it on my other screen and bring to your attention anything that you need to be aware of. But it is pulling off the highs substantially. Boeing is probably going to be the closest trade. It may get a nice little flush later. So 2180. I'll also keep the spiders on just so we see how it opens. So the dollar's still putting in some consolidation. We'll see if it can hold up. Natural gas is trying to close back to the positive side, but still very weak. right, spiders are open in 40 seconds. 40 seconds, and we will have the market opening. KRE is going to be opening up. Gold will be opening lower. Oil's catching a bid. So BA, JP Morgan, United Health. I'm watching those specifically. And then anything else that comes up. All right, spiders are gapping lower. JP Morgan, UNH is falling sharper now. That one's pretty much off the table right now because it's gone negative. Apple's gap lower. Spiders are still falling. Nvidia just turned negative. Boeing's catching a little bit of a bid here. JP Morgan is still under pressure. Nvidia tech is lagging. Oil's caught a huge bid. KRE's rallying. Microsoft's under pressure. Apple's trying to rally back to the green side. Nvidia's weak. Tesla's down on the session. Spiders are definitely putting in a rally here. Keep JP Morgan on the radar. Boeing's also selling off now. So Boeing's coming lower. So spiders are trying to put in a little bit of a rally here. But Boeing's fading. AMD's just making a new low. Nvidia's starting to fall sharper now. So JP Morgan's into a 618 retrace right now, but it should head a little bit higher. Keep JPM on the radar still. Spiders, Boeing, Nvidia turned negative. Bitcoin's putting in a bear flag. Oil's having a big move to the upside. China stocks are falling lower now as well. Natural gas is still under pressure. Boeing's on the radar. United Health is catching a big bid. See the home builders, they're holding up okay. Silver's pushing up. Markets are holding up as of now. Tesla's down 1.7. Tesla's down 1.7. United Health is trying to rally back. Spiders look like they want to attack that gap fill. Nvidia, Apple. So mega cap tech is definitely lagging as of now. Qs are definitely lagging the spiders, and that's because the banks are strong. Banks are certainly strong. JP Morgan's reversing from the highs here, but the spiders are still trying to rally here. Let's look at the Dow, the DJI, because United Health is strong, but Boeing's weak. So that's starting to rally. Look at the Qs though. Qs are definitely lagging. Semis are under pressure today. They're actually gone negative. Boeing is coming down, so that's probably the closest trade. Boeing is coming down, guys. We'll keep Boeing on the radar. Tesla's also falling a much sharper. VIX is still lagging. GDX has caught a little bit of a bounce. XOM has had a big push with oil as well. Basically back to the highs of the chart on XOM. Spiders are under a little bit of pressure. JP Morgan still acting well. Apple's trying to push up. Nvidia's still weak. Microsoft's trying to bounce. Take a look at Wells Fargo. PNC also reported that stock is under a lot of pressure, turned negative. Look at that nasty reversal on PNC. That's a nasty, nasty thing. Let's do an Oracle check. That one's making another push to the upside. Interesting double top gap fill play on Oracle, but I still like JP Morgan better. Boeing still, I'm still watching Boeing here, guys. Spiders are getting a big push though. Natural gas is rolling over again. Nvidia is starting to roll a little bit more. Gold is catching a bounce. Spiders are about to fill that gap. JP Morgan, keep JPM on the radar. Boeing's still falling. I'm going to go for a 1/5 position on JP Morgan. 1/5 position. Spiders are about to fill the gap, so you may see some profit taking as the spiders rally and fill that gap. Tech is still lagging right now, but definitely trying to rally as well. So the spiders did fill the gap, and the spiders are actually going back to the positive side. They just went positive. Other big movers right now: Bank of America, JPM's up 6.2. Apple's trying to go positive. Lucid's down 8. Boeing's trying to bounce. United Health is trying to bounce. Markets just seem to want to trend up. Up, up, up. Apple's going to the upside, almost turning positive and filling its gap. JP Morgan's just pulling off of the highs, but look at the spiders. I mean, what a rally. What a rally on the spiders. Big question is, will it start to fade here? But the markets have turned back to the positive side. Notice how the tech is lagging, but the tech is starting to catch up now. Spiders filled its gap, tech hasn't yet. And the spiders are continuing to push here. Markets are in rally mode this Friday. They look like they're pushing it back up. JP Morgan's continuing to push again. Because the spiders are so strong, I'm going to let it pierce this level. Maybe wait for even a 138. And 138. Regional banks are kind of reversing off of the highs. All right, JP Morgan's coming to that first level. Let it pierce because the spiders are super strong right now. Wow. Boeing's also still falling. It's coming in range. Wow, spiders are pushing. Huge push on the spiders. All right, I'm going to short JPM here. 137.85. 137.85. Short JPM. It's a 1/5 position. 137.85. Starting to push even higher now. Boeing's still coming down, so keep Boeing on the radar. We're probably going to have 2 simultaneous trades. Nvidia, Apple's almost filled its gap. Tesla's had a huge, huge rally. On JPM, I'm probably going to look for about at least 50 cents on the trade. I have about 200 shares right now. Boeing's still coming in, watch. So BA is still on the radar as well. That's almost coming into our level. So I will call that out. I'm going to watch JPM here. That is pulling in. We're short JPM at 137.85. That's a 1/5. XOM's had a big reversal. Qs are pushing back up. KRE is starting to fade from the highs. So that's showing some bank weakness. Look at that. This is going to help our bank short. This should help our bank short. All right, guys, get ready to take profits on JP Morgan in a little bit here. All right, guys, I'm out of JPM, 137.33, 137.33. There we go. That's a 52-cent win times 200 shares for us. First little win in the pocket. All right, now we can short it at this next resistance level if it pushes up. Boeing is still on watch. Boeing is still on watch. I'm watching the KRE almost rolling to the negative side here. So take a look at the KRE. That is almost gone negative. So definitely money flowing into the bigger, larger banks here. But that's one winner in the book for us. One winner in the books for us. All right, Boeing's coming in, guys. Boeing is coming into the first level here. Should be some decent support on Boeing. Coming in, JP Morgan's fading. Let's do a quick spider check. Spiders are starting to fade. So now this is the big thing, is if the spiders really start to fade even more, Boeing could see some more downside. But Boeing's going to be a long trade. I'm still interested in JP Morgan again if it were to push up. Right now it hasn't taken out that previous level. But it's very intriguing. Spiders are still acting very, very well. All right, Boeing is coming into first level. I'm going to wait for this gap fill. But it is coming into that nice level there. Dollar's starting to push back up. Nat gases. KRE just went negative. Look at these regionals. Look at our PNC short. Just getting demolished. We're up 8% now, down 3. Wow. That's incredible. That is incredible. So the KRE is a good signal for the market. When the KRE goes negative, it likely means the spiders and the rest of the indices have downside. Boeing's into that first level. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till this level right here for a long around 197.50. And then we may have to even add to the position. So go with a one. I'm going to go with the 1/4 position. So I'm going to divide my position in 4. Go with a 1/4 position. And this is the first buy level around 197.49. And again, we're going to go for about 50 to 75 cents on Boeing. KRE still negative. Dollar's putting in bullish consolidation. The dollar is putting in bullish consolidation. So PNC is under a lot of pressure today. If PNC closes at the lows, I mean, that's going to be very, very bad for this chart. JP Morgan's pushing up again, so we may have another potential short on JPM. We just need to see if it can push up a little bit more to about the 138.57, 138.50 level. I do like that on JPM. Boeing's still intact. Apple's gone positive. Boeing's down 7%. Huge move down for Boeing. Tesla's negative. KRE's negative still. Wells Fargo is rolling over. Wells Fargo's gone negative. You see, it just shows you how much weakness. It's almost like market makers are using this as exit liquidity. And really the only thing keeping this market up now is tech. Mega cap tech again. And obviously the spiders. All right, Boeing's coming down, guys. Keep Boeing on the radar because I am prepared to go long at 197.50, give or take. Looking up that gap fill. The actual gap fill's at 197.53, so that might be the level. JP Morgan's pushing up. Look at the spiders. Wow, they just are relentless. Relentless today. So JP Morgan, keep JPM on the short list again. Apple's pushing up. New high on Apple. New intraday high on Apple. Microsoft hasn't filled its gap. Still watching Boeing as well. McDonald's new high. These markets are just continuing to grind to the upside. JP Morgan just briefly made a new high. Boeing is getting a little bit of a bounce here. Boeing's getting a bounce off that level. Boeing actually got a nice bounce off of that level. That's actually more than a 50-cent bounce off of that level. So that's a nice little bounce. It's still technically valid. Spiders are continuing to push. This is pretty relentless from the spiders, even with the yields up and the dollar up slightly. Apple's pushing up, so Apple's lifting this market higher. New high on Apple. Gap down. Didn't last too long. But definitely still weakness in the regionals. Which makes me think this market could see downside at some point, especially if the regionals like PNC are so weak. I mean, it's down 3%. And the level it's breaking now on PNC is pretty darn important. But clearly capital rotating into tech. Nat gas is still under pressure. New high on the spiders. Major resistance on the spiders is going to be around Pierce of 415. A Pierce of 415, but the market's just continuing to rally. Not paying attention to the regionals. They are just in full-fledged rally mode. Alright, JPM's coming into another short target here, guys. 138.50, I like 138.50. I'm even tempted to grab some here, just how extended the SPY is. And the Qs just filled their gap. Regionals are still negative. Alright guys, JPM's coming up. Boeing's still on the list for a long trade. Wow, look at this rally on the spiders. Jesus. Crazy, crazy, crazy rally. Alright, looks like we're going to get another opportunity on JP Morgan here. Just looking at some of the other stocks. Amazon just turned positive. Wells Fargo's back to the positive side. Tesla's just slightly down. United Health is back under pressure, so now the Dow must be getting hit. All right, here comes JPM, guys. 138.50. I'm going to get short 138.50. All right, I'm short 138.51. 138.51 on JPM. 138.51 short JPM. It's a 1/4 position. Look at that. It's already pulling in. So let me just move this down to my target. Roughly there. We'll remove the old one. Next ad level is a Pierce of 139. Pierce of 139. And we're going to go for about 50 cents again. Boeing is still on watch. Gold's still under pressure. Regionals are trying to catch a little bit of a bounce. So Pierce of 139. Let me just move this in here. 139.20. JP Morgan's definitely continuing to push up along with the SPY. Wow, the SPY is at 414. Mega cap tech is just pushing this market higher. Again, we're looking for about 50 cents. So that would put us at a cover target around 138. So 138-ish. Get ready to exit JP Morgan here. Hasn't hit the level yet. I'm looking for about 50 cents on the trade, which would put us around a 138.01 cover, around 138. Qs are pushing up, new high on the Qs. Gold is still under pressure, which is likely means the dollar's about to continue to making a surge higher, and the markets are just not even worried about the dollar. Spider short at 415 Pierce as well. You can short the spiders via the SDS at 415. That should be a decent level. Pierce of 415. I'm just going to monitor JPM because they're pretty much almost going to be a very similar trade at this point in time. But 415 is a good short level on the SPY. Gold is continuing to come down. Look at that dollar. It's creating a nice little intraday bull flag that's about to break. I will add to my JPM at a Pierce of 139. Pierce of 139. The big resistance at 139.20, but 139 just because the market is so extended. So I'll actually put a little trend line there. Boeing is still on watch. United Health is rolled over to the negative side. Let's take a look at that PNC. That one's being saved right now. Silver's starting to come in. Gold. Bitcoin's rallying off of the lows. Healthcare's back to the highs. JP Morgan's pushing back up. Apple, astonishing move on Apple. Continuing to grind higher. United Health is falling sharply. JP Morgan is coming in now, guys. It's definitely extended. Definitely extended. Spiders. Look at this spider rally. So the spiders are coming up into that 415 level. 415 level is a short on the spiders. But again, we're pretty much shorting the spiders via the JP Morgan right now. So spiders hit that 415 level exactly to a penny. Spiders hit 415 to a penny and it's pulled off. 415.15 is still a potential resistance on the spiders, but 415 is huge on the SPY. And stocks just want to continue grinding higher, marching higher. Nvidia is positive. Apple's positive. Microsoft is still negative. Tesla's almost gone positive here. JP Morgan is up massively on the day. And we still have other bank earnings after the bell that we really need to pay attention to. Lucid down 8.9%. JPM's up 7.3%. That's a power move on JPM. That really is. All right, JPM, let's be ready to add. Let it pierce that 139 level and we can add to JPM. If it blasts through 139, the other resistance is around 139.75. But we'll just assess. United Health is starting to roll over, which should weigh on the Dow component. I do want to check the Dow here because Boeing's a Dow component and so is United Health. So the Dow was strong, but now it's starting to see some weakness. Obviously, it's a price cap weighted indice. Spiders are still acting well. Spiders are still acting well. So JPM, the spiders are pretty much a trade that are going to move in lockstep at this point in time. JPM's now coming down. Potential 10-minute reversal candle. All right, it's coming into our target now. Let's see how much we can get out of this. At least that 50-cent target. It's coming into our level now. I'm still holding, guys. I'm still holding. It's at our target now. I'm still holding. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. Let's see. Come on. Pierce that 138 level. And I will cover. Come on. Right back up. It's like they're listening. That's okay. It should come down because the spiders are seeing a little bit of selling right now. The spiders are seeing a little bit of selling. If we can pierce that 138 level on JP Morgan, I will look to cover. Come on, let's get a little bit of a downside move in the spiders. There it is. I'm covering 137.92, 137.92 out of JPM for another profit there. Wonderful, wonderful job there. That is yet again Another about a, what is that? A 59-cent gain again. So that's 2 for 2. Let's sit back in the straddle and see what else we can find right now. So 2 for 2 on JP Morgan. Wonderful, wonderful job. Let's flip back to the spiders just to see what's going on. So the spiders are starting to come in a little bit. Boeing has bounced off the level. So that one's pretty much kind of off the table as of now. Let's do that race Ferrari. Let's check that stock. That one's still in the stratosphere. It's actually looking very interesting to short. How about SLV? SLV is still holding up. GDX, that's still gapped lower. PNC. If PNC closed below these wicks here, I mean, that's very, very troublesome for the regionals. But the regionals are still under a lot of pressure right now. GDX is coming in sharper. Meta's rallied back to the positive side. Spider check again. Oops. VIX has fallen back to the negative side. The VIX has fallen. Spiders still haven't pierced that 415 level. That's still acting as really good resistance. You have home builders that are acting well today. GDX is definitely falling a lot sharper now. Nat gas is trying to go back to the positive side. It's almost to the positive side. Oil's touching the 200 daily moving average right now. JP Morgan's floating back up. So next level on JPM for a short is now piercing that 139 level. So let's see if we can go 3 for 3 on JPM. 139 pierce is the level now on JPM. And 139.75 is another big resistance. But these markets are strong. Very strong. Spider's new high. Look at this spider push. Wow. So 415.16, 415.15, I am prepared to short the SPY. Keep the spiders on the radar. I'm prepared to do a short on the spiders if it tags at 415.15 level. Nvidia is acting well. Nasdaq is pushing up higher. Nasdaq is acting extremely well. Tesla now went positive. Nvidia is acting well. JPM still on watch. Still watching Boeing as well, but that's pretty much off of the table. So I'm interested in the shorting the spiders in JPM again. But the spiders, massive push. Even when the dollar and yield surge, the markets just ignore it and go into free rally mode. JPM's basically back to the level that we shorted it at. So it's pushed back up. Meta's having a surge. All right, spiders are coming into that short level, guys. Spiders are coming in to that short level. You can do with the SDS. You can outright short the SPY. I'm just going to do the SPY at 415.15. JP Morgan's almost back into that 139 level. That's also a short trade. So you have either the JPM trade or the spider trade. Whichever one hits there first. I think the spiders will hit there first. So keep that on the radar. We're about a few cents away. It's pulling off of that high now. Let's do a CTLT check. I'll bring that up on my other screen. Catalent, I know they had a big gap down yesterday, CTLT. What's it doing today? Another big gap down. I don't like it. It's off of the lows substantially. I mean, could it keep pushing up? Yeah, absolutely, but it's a weak name. If the market gives up any of these gains, it should roll over. But CTLT, it is getting a big push off the lows. So if you caught at the lows, that's an excellent trade in the pocket there. JP Morgan, that's probably going to be the next short because the spiders are pulling in off the highs. Didn't quite hit that 139 level. Oh wow, big dump on the spiders there. That was a big dump. Look at that. Fat finger trader or just big profit taking. So 10 a.m. got some data likely that pushed that lower. Might have been some data, but the spiders just keep pushing back up. All right, JPM's pushing up now again. JPM is probably going to be the preferred candidate over the spiders because that's still pushing up. And obviously it is extended. So 139 Pierce, I will short JPM. Ooh, big dump on the spider again. Someone's selling now. That data is coming in hot. The dollar is spiking. Look at this. Thank you to my team here bringing my attention to the dollar. Dollar spiked, market's falling. And gold took a dump there. JP Morgan's coming in hot. Boeing's still on the radar for a long. Big Bitcoin sell-off. Spiders are getting bought right back up though. Spiders, big pushback right back up. They do not care about this economic data. Gold is reacting. Gold is actually getting hit the most. It is down over 1% already. The GDX is down 1.6. Surprisingly, silver's holding up better than gold. That is very peculiar. JP Morgan's still on the hit list again because it is acting very, very well. Regional banks have slightly gone positive again. Healthcare stocks continuing to push. Big dump on JPM now. That's pretty much off the table. The spiders are still holding up. Wow, look at the sell-off in JP Morgan. Big sell in JP Morgan there. So, but the spiders, now they're diverging from the spiders. Dollar softened a little bit. Natural gas is back to the positive side. But the spiders just don't want to go down. Tesla's still negative. Apple's positive. Amazon's positive. Nvidia's positive. Boeing's still down. AMD's positive. So semis have really started to rally back, showing their strength. Meta's having a huge rally. This Meta's like one of the unstoppable stocks of 2022, 2023. Oil's getting a push up. So now the level in the spiders would be a little bit higher, around 415.25. I still like the spiders for a short. 415.25. JP Morgan still pulled off from the highs there. But a big rally on Wall Street today, considering the gap down move and the surging dollar. But at some point, it seems like the markets should react to that dollar. I mean, the dollar's looking very strong. Let's do a quick volume check. Volume's still really light right now. JP Morgan falling sharply. Wow. JP Morgan has fallen extremely sharply off of the highs there. What a dump on JP Morgan. Is that going to be a leading insight that the spiders will show weakness? That's a big dump. It's a big dump on JP Morgan. Still up substantially on the session, so. Qs are still at the highs. So mega cap tech was the lagging sector, and now it's the leading sector of the day. Very interesting. Nvidia is still holding up. It's up over 1%. Still hasn't recaptured that neckline, but definitely acting well. JP Morgan still rolling over. GDX still under a lot of pressure. That dollar still got a nice little bull flag pattern. So I'm still interested in the spiders if we get one push up to short, but again, it's we need to hit it before the volume lightens up. KRE certainly coming in sharper now, basically almost going back to the negative side. Bank of America, huge tail candle forming. So these banks aren't out of the woodwork yet. Look at this JP Morgan sell. Wow. Look at that sell on JPM. Gold, new lows, new intraday lows on gold. Take a look at gold selling off. New intraday low there. Silver's holding up surprisingly well, but it is getting a little sell right now. There you go, there's silver. Interesting pattern here on silver that we're breaking. Likely sends us to gap fill. Likely sends us down here. Simple trend line break. Big sell in the spiders coming in now. Tech is still holding up, so notice the difference between the spiders. Tech is still nearing the highs. Spiders nearing the lows. Let's do a Russell check because that's the bank starting to roll over. If the Russell goes negative, that's not a positive for this market. Let's do a Dow check because the Dow components are still under pressure. Look at the Dow. So you have United Health, one of the largest Dow components, and you have Boeing under pressure. So Boeing and UNH are dragging the Dow down. Obviously, those are also big S&P components, but for United Health to hit all the way up to about 537 or I think it was 536 actually, it hit in the pre-market and now it's down, is a massive reversal. Massive reversal. So now we're going to look for some interesting long plays because look at this dollar surging, breaking out of a bull flag. Bullish pattern on the dollar is if you get an hourly close above this red bar high, which we'll know in 53 minutes. If you do, this is turning into a very bullish daily reversal candle. The fact that you made a new low, you actually pierced the double bottom and you're reversing. Imagine if you engulf this previous candle, then that is likely a bottom in the dollar, and it means that the very next down leg in this market is about to start very soon. And it's certainly due. Let's just say that the markets are certainly due for a rotation to the downside. I mean, it doesn't have to crash, that a lot of people call, but at least like a 5 to 10% correction in the indices would be extremely healthy. Wow. Big sell-offs coming in now. Healthcare, S&P just getting demolished right now. So let's look for some long trades. Let me just do some quick calculations. I do have some levels planned. Basically a long trade on the spiders. We're looking at a level of, this is a tricky one. So we gapped lower. My long level in the spiders is 412.12. 412.12. So basically right along this, piercing this orange trend line, we can maybe do a long trade on the SPY. It is risky. There's even a potential that we flush all the way down to this level over here. But 412.12 might be, I'll have to reassess because the dollar's just surging right now. Gold is dumping huge. So basically, I'm going to look for maybe a little short-term bounce at 412 here on the spiders. But that's a nasty sell coming in right now. And that's because that's finally waking up to the dollar. Microsoft couldn't fill its gap. Gold is getting pummeled right now. Big sell-off continuing, guys. Big sell-off continuing. This is a high-risk play. I'm going to have to wait and see how it gets into there just to really make sure that our level is technically sound because that's a nasty hourly reversal candle on the spiders. This could be the top in the indices. A reversal of this magnitude, especially since it's happening on volume, is not good for the markets. Letting it pierce that 412 level is probably even a better scenario, but I still am interested for maybe a... Oof, this is a nasty sell, guys. This is a nasty sell. Banks are negative. Regionals are gone to the negative side again. I'm still interested. Still interested in a potential long trade on the spiders. United Health continuing to sell off. PNC is still negative. Good to see. Markets are catching a small little minor bounce now. Little minor bounce. Just going to adjust this level a little bit more now. Piercing that 412 level, so maybe 411.96. Q's had a nasty 10-minute engulfing candle on volume. Interesting to see that the VIX still hasn't popped up. Spiders are getting a bounce now. Amazon's turned negative. Tesla's back to the negative side. Apple's negative. AMD's hanging on by a thread. Nvidia's still positive. Wells Fargo's gone negative. Bank of America's just up 2.5%. So markets are still acting weak here. Still interested in a long trade on Boeing, but it's going to have to be a little bit lower now because of the fact that it's had a 10, 20, 30, 40 minute bounce off of the low. So really the next level, we have to let it pierce 197.50 and reassess where the spiders are hitting support. That gas is trying to stay positive, just slightly negative. But interesting to see the banks, even like Bank of America here, which is Warren Buffett's biggest holding. You know, putting in definitely a distribution tail candle here. KRE is still under pressure. You know, that's not healthy price action in KRE. Spider's now seeing another round of selling. Let's do a JP Morgan check. That's still holding up better than most. Boeing's coming back down now. Let's do a quick check on PNC. Whoops, PNC. So the level that I'm looking at on PNC, if PNC loses these pivots, I mean, it could open up the floodgates because this is a big bear flag that has been forming, a bearish wedge. You have basically two major pivots, which if it closes below those today on a weekly close, you know, this chart is looking extremely vulnerable to more downside. I mean, I could see a flush down to a 111.90 in a pretty quick succession there over a course of a couple weeks. Maybe a little bit of a daily tail forming on the spiders. Too early to tell. It's very too early to tell. Let's just give this pattern the benefit of the doubt, but that's a nasty reversal on the spiders. UNH is coming down sharply, so UNH has been a market leader, and look at this sell-off. And they reported decent earnings, a beat, and the fact that they were all the way up here, this is extremely bearish. Look at healthcare, XLV. LOY was one of my top shorts. I wanted to short it just with another little pierce of this double top. Did not get it on. It could still go up, but again, we'll just have to wait on that pattern. Boeing still on watch. Spiders are getting a bounce here. So I don't no longer like this level here because we've got a bounce, so I'm just going to erase that. JP Morgan is continuing to push back up. Let's see if JP Morgan pushes up and we get another short trade on it. Still on the radar because the spiders are acting weak now. Healthcare is getting demolished right now. Natural gas is still trying to hold up, but definitely under pressure. XOM, a huge reversal candle. Apple is back to the still positive, hanging on by a thread. Tesla's negative. See some of these other stocks like Lucid. That's got about CTLT. I know one of the members brought that up today. That's actually holding up pretty well here. This is creating a little micro bull flag. The stop out level is closing below this wide range green bar. That's your volume breakout, but this is a nice little potential bull flag. It is more oversold, down 23%. Wow, I didn't realize it was down that much, but you could trade this on the long side and just use a stop out. And I'm actually interested in picking some up here. Let me just analyze this on a little bit of a larger term time frame with the market, but basically this is a little micro bull flag forming, and this is the level to buy it at, and just use this close on a 5-minute basis to stop out. All right, I'm going to go long this stock here at 48.70, long CTLT, 48.70, one fifth position. I'm just keeping a tight stop loss. If I get a 5-minute close below this 48.23, I am out of the trade. Okay? So thanks for one of the members for putting this on the radar. I am long at 48.70. 48.70 long. Okay? It's getting a nice little bump. We're already in the money, 23 cents here. Let's see what we can get. Markets are still weak. I'm still watching Boeing, JP Morgan. Boeing's starting to come back down a little bit more now. I'm going to look on this trade for about, let's see. It's down 20. It's had that. I'm going to look for about 50 cents as well. 51 cents maybe. I'm trading CTLT again. Or for the first time, I should say, but with a tight stop loss, because this is actually a slight bullish pattern. Market's weak right now, but I will stop out if we get a 5-minute close below this green bar. JP Morgan's pushing back up. Meta's pushing back up. Gold is still exceptionally weak. Oil has softened from the highs. The dollar is softening, but still putting in bullish consolidation. I'm still watching JP Morgan, Boeing. Silver's coming in now, pretty much engulfing yesterday's candle. That'll be interesting to see if that does that. Spiders are still holding up, but a nasty hourly tail candle on the spiders. Slightly out of the money on the CTLT, and I'm not going to add to this position. It's just a one-time entry on this position. Win, lose, or draw. I have a stop loss. I know the risk. And I know the reward that I'm trying to go for. But spiders are still weak. JP Morgan, I'm still interested in shorting at a Pierce of 139. Nvidia's starting to roll over now. Nat gas is finally back to the positive side. KRE's back to the negative side. Gold is getting pummeled right now. The dollar's trying to move back up. Nasty hourly topping tail forming on the SPY. Nasty hourly topping tail. Big dump on the spiders here. So that CTLT we may get stopped out, but a big dump on the spiders. The positive for CTLT, it is way oversold compared to the market, but definitely difficult for weak names to get a bounce if the market is weak. QQQ is now under pressure, so tech is finally seeing some rotation. Look at the KRE again, back to the negative side. JP Morgan is still on the hit list again for a short above 139 Pierce, but spiders are coming back down again. Spiders are still rolling heavy. Big downside coming. You have a nasty hourly topping tail on the spiders. This thing is disgusting. One of the nastiest tails I've seen in a while. That thing is likely marking the top in the indices, especially if it's on heavy volume. We'll have to see. Still watching CTLT. We're out of the money 10 cents. It's popping up though as the markets are falling. That's good to see. Good to see. Thanks Shams there for that little call out. I wasn't even aware of that trade. Obviously we haven't won it yet. I know you traded it a couple times, but it's holding up as the markets are falling. It's actually still holding up, and it's inside of this bar. As of now, the spiders get a bounce. We should see that stock bounce as well. But small risk in that name because it has fallen, and we have a very close stop loss. A very, very close stop loss. Now, I'm interested in going on a spider long at, just give me a second here. Ooh, this is a tricky tape here. This is a very tricky tape. All right, spider long. 411.70. 411.70. Look at the CTLT. It's popping up now. So we're in the money again on this trade here. Let's see if we can get our target of at least 50 cents on this name. Come on, give it to us. Come on. Can we get this name to pay us out here? Oversold. This name could pop up. I mean, look at this. We're in the target. We're in the target range. We're in the target range. All right, I'm putting a trailing stop here at 49.22. Let's see how much we can ride it. I got to stop at 49.22, so we're locking in our gains. Oh, I just got stopped out. That's a nice gain. 51-cent gain for us on CTLT. There it is. All right, 3 for 3 on us today. Let's see what else we can trade. There might be a level coming up on the GDX. Let me just flip to the gold chart. Just want to take a look at this gold chart because it is fascinating and intriguing. Gold is potentially breaking out of that wedge pattern. Let me take a look at the spiders here again. Spiders are coming back down. Nvidia is starting to roll heavy now. Also got rejected at the key neckline. Take a look at silver. If silver hits this gap, this SLV, we can go long SLV. Crazy session today. Crazy session. So I'll keep my eye on silver. Let's watch the spiders again. Look at that sell on CTLT. Nice exit for us. Basically, we pulled our profits out at the high. Boom. Rolling over. And the markets are looking exceptionally weak still. So keep silver on the radar now, because I am interested in potentially day trading silver at that gap fill. It is an intriguing level. Dollars pushing for new highs. Markets are trying to make new intraday lows. So the inverse correlation is clear. All right, markets are rolling heavier now. XOM, gold. Gold is breaking a potential wedge pattern here. Things are looking a little dicey for these markets on a Friday. If we get a bearish close on a Friday, will that set up for a Monday sell? That's the big question. Typically if you get a bearish close on Friday, you see continued weakness on Monday, maybe even a gap down. You have a nasty tail candle forming on the hourly chart for the Qs, for the spiders, the dollar's surging, JP Morgan's coming down, SLV's still coming down. Things are getting pummeled here. The VIX still is actually negative. The VIX is still actually negative, or at least the UVXY. Boeing isn't hitting our level yet. We're still waiting on Boeing. PNC is still negative. Home builders are rolling over now. JP Morgan's still under pressure. Spider long level. Let me just see here. $411.23. I like a long on the spiders. Because the markets are so weak, we're going to let these fall a little bit sharper. 411, basically 25, 23, in and around that section. We can go long on the spiders. It's a high risk play because the markets are weak, but I think we could get a bounce there. Gold is still selling off here. Silver is still selling off. GDX at the lows. GDX is hitting its intraday 7 moving average, so it should find some support there. But it doesn't mean it can't go lower. Silver's coming to that gap fill. Look at SLV. It is pushing to that gap fill. Let me just do a quick little check here to make sure that is a technically sound on my other screen here. That's a nasty reversal on silver. That is a nasty, nasty reversal. There's even a better level at 23.30. You have hourly chart support. But it's very intriguing on SLV. Very, very intriguing. Spiders are still trickling lower here. Spiders are still trickling lower. Now approaching that 10:30 time frame. We've got 3 for 3 today. In our pocket, silver's catching a little bit of a bounce here. Still interested in maybe a long trade. JP Morgan's holding up. So spider long around 411.25. If it hits there in the next 10 minutes, I will be interested. I'm looking at a GDX long at a Pierce of 34. I'm looking at an SLV level at around, now the level that I actually have calculated is around 23.38, 23.40, around that zone. Spiders are still coming in. SLV is catching a nice little bounce right ahead of that gap fill. So definitely adjust that level lower. Gold is breaking a key wedge. It is hitting hourly chart support. Nat gas is back to the negative side. Oil's starting to roll over a little bit harder now. KRE is back to the negative side. Let's do a Boeing. Boeing's still off of our level. It's just hovering at those initial supports that we gave. So obviously we know there's buyers, but now because it's consolidated, I don't even like this lower level. I like this level down here, 195.50, especially if the markets continue to roll over more. And we're only down 0.27% on the session. Pretty almost a daily engulfing on SLV, so that's interesting to see. Will we get more downside? Wow, look at this JPM, just defying gravity. Just defying gravity. I'm still interested in JPM. Pierce of 139. Spiders just getting a little bit of a micro bounce. An hourly topping tail on the spiders is forming with Epic Volume 2, so that is certainly intriguing. We have 3 million shares in this 1 hour candle. I've seen heavier, but it's interesting to see that we're continuing to fall. XOM's under pressure, gold's still under pressure. KRE is now down on the session 0.58%. Home builders are starting to roll over. Pretty much everything is starting to roll over. United Health, healthcare is still weak. SLV's caught a little bit of a bounce here. Let's do a coin check. Apple's now negative as well. Amazon's negative. Riot's still holding on. Citi's still holding on. Nvidia just turned negative, so that's not good for the semis. That is not good for the semis. And not, believe it or not, JPM is actually putting in bullish intraday consolidation to potentially move higher. That's very, very interesting. Nvidia is starting to see a lot of sell side pressure. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs are about to lose this pivot. That's the pivot low intraday. That's a negative price action for the Qs. Look at the SMH. They've rolled over, gone negative. Nvidia's rolling over, slightly negative. Notice how it retraced back to that neckline again. So that pattern is clearly in effect at this point in time. AMD has rolled over. Let's do an Intel check. Silver's still coming down. Intel is still holding up, but looking a little bit bearish intraday. Even Apple is rolling over. Microsoft just made a new low, so that's going to push the market down. How about Google? Let's check good old Googly. That's holding up a little bit better. Still positive, so relative strength in Google. Interesting. Cloud stocks. Let's do an IGV check. I know with Microsoft being down substantially, this should be down. Yep, that's down. All right, spiders are coming lower. I'm still intrigued about this level here at 411.25 for a long. Dollars at the highs. Gold's continuing to sell. Surprisingly, crypto's holding up better than the actual markets at this point in time. Costco's starting to see some sell side pressure. Wells Fargo just went negative. Wells Fargo, wow. Banks are under pressure. They used the bank earnings from JPM as exit liquidity, and it just seems that maybe all the bank earnings are flowing right into JPM because even Bank of America is getting slaughtered. You look at Wells Fargo, that's gone negative. You look at Citigroup, that's also pulled off substantially from the highs. So clear weakness in Wells Fargo. And that was one of our short trades that we put on the radar, but it didn't actually hit that. I am shorting Wells Fargo, full disclosure, in a personal portfolio, but definitely not an alert with the member service here. Spider long, I'm still interested in. Oil is rolling over sharply now, getting rejected off the daily 200. Take a look at oil. WTI crude. Look at that rollover on oil. So it's interesting to see on the daily chart. Go to auto. I don't even have the 200 on here. But it hit the 200 pretty much at the top of the wick and rolled over. Look at the spider, nasty, nasty tail. Again, we have to see what type of volume we get. So far, it's not that heavy. On the hourly chart close, which just happened, look at that nasty tail. That is a nasty tail. I mean, you got heavier volume than pretty much all of the previous days except on, I believe this was the close, near the close. So definitely an hourly hammer candle that has engulfed 1-2 hours of price action. That is new resistance. New resistance has to be respected. Typically, you see a 50% retrace. That's the big thing that we'll have to watch for. Let's check the CTLT chart. See, that one broke this pivot. Next level on this particular stock is at double bottom. And then you just use double bottom for a potential stop out. So spiders are still acting weak. SLV is still on the radar, but we got a little bit of a bounce. So a lot of people are going to be sitting at this gap fill. We let it pierce. We're going to the next level, which is roughly around 23.38 long on SLV. Okay. GDX is still coming down. Take a look at that dollar chart. That Dixie is pretty much, I think this could be the low in the Dixie. This could mark the low in the Dixie. When you see a reversal off of this wedge pattern, off of big time support, I mean, that could mark the low in the dollar on a weekly chart pattern. Notice how this was a weekly chart pattern, weekly reversal hammer. It's being defended for now. For now. I've seen dollar give up a lot of its price action. Yields are also surging today, up on the session after Fed member Waller spoke. All right, it's now approaching the 10:32 time frame. I'm going to just encourage people to play it light, let the trends play out here. Could be a downtrending day based off of what I'm seeing here in the dollar yields and the overall markets. Even with oil reversing sharply, that's also a negative. And really, when you look at gold and oil, the two biggest counter trend assets to the dollar, they're selling off sharply now. So this is likely meaning the dollar is going to hold its gains today, which could mean we're in a downtrending day. So again, I'm going to just call the stream to an end. There are some tradable levels that are approaching on SLV, SPY, but you really want to be careful about what you pick here in terms of trading. I'm interested in maybe SLV. Bitcoin's dumping. But again, SLV is still very, very weak right now, down 1.39%. But if it hits this 23.38 level, I will be interested, and I just use this stop out bar as a loss here. Okay. But on that note, I'm going to call this stream to an end, and I wish everyone good luck today. Definitely going to be some opportunities here as we progress through the rest of this market. And just really look at gold and oil to see if they keep moving lower. If they keep moving lower, it means the dollar is going to keep grinding higher. So on that note, congrats on the wins. Pay attention to that regional banks because they have gone negative. Pay attention to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, and there are some other names after the bell that could, believe it or not, cause more sell-off to continue. So on that note, I'm going to bid everyone farewell. Thank you for tuning in. Congrats on the 3 for 3 today in the live day trading room. It's always wonderful to bank profits here. but I am going to just call the stream and do a little bit of more trading for myself for the rest of the hour, and then pretty much go out and enjoy the sunshine day on this Friday and call it a day. On that note, thank you all, and enjoy your weekend.